Whether you're a diehard sports fan, a hopeless romantic, or a comedy aficionado, the Xfinity 10G network was made for streaming it all. Worry less about buffering when streaming your favorite shows, movies, or live sports and enjoy a better way to watch. Xfinity gives you a reliable connection for streaming plus all the entertainment you love all in one place. Fear not, because now you can finally sit back, relax, and stream your favorite entertainment and sports like never before with the Xfinity 10G network.
Who doesn't love a classic chocolate chip cookie? Famous Amos has been making them since the 70s, 1975 to be exact. With semi-sweet chocolate chips and a satisfying crunch, it's everything classic in one bite-sized cookie, and fans couldn't get enough. That's right. You'll find our original recipe, the one you know and love, in every bag of Famous Amos original chocolate chip cookies. Find Famous Amos anywhere you buy your favorite snacks.
When your space has the long-lasting, noticeable scent of Airwick Vibrant Scented Oils, you'll want to invite everyone over, from book club to the fantasy league, even the in-laws.
It smells amazing.
Airwick Vibrant Scented Oils are infused with 2 times more natural essential oils versus regular Airwick Scented Oils for our most authentic, nature-inspired fragrance experience. Transform your space with scents like white sage and mahogany or lavender and water lily. Now that's a breath of fresh Airwick.
Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spedden, joined as always by Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens. And we have a lot to get into this week. But on tonight's episode, we're going to take a look at how the top 5 prospects in our preseason top 50 prospects list are doing right now, as we're almost a month into the major league season and a few weeks into the minor league season. We will get to that in just a moment. But first, a reminder that we are doing a live show on Saturday, May 11th, at Checker Spot Brewing in Baltimore. The show will begin at 2 p.m., which is perfect for anyone who has tickets to that afternoon's Orioles game against the Diamondbacks. You can stop at Checker Spot ahead of time, go the short distance to Camden Yards afterwards, and catch the game. If you don't have tickets, the good news for you is that Checker Spot will have the game on after our show, and we are going to be doing a little bit of a viewing party. So certainly looking forward to that. We will have more details as the show approaches on guests, as well as any programming we plan to do during that episode. But certainly looking forward to it. Checker Spot Brewing is located at 1421 Ridley Street in Baltimore. Now, on tonight's episode, we're going to discuss how the top 5 prospects in our preseason top 50 countdown are performing so far. And as a reminder, those players in order are Jackson Holliday, Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basayo, Colton Cowser, and Heston Kjerstad. Connor Norby ranked 6th on our list, and we are going to discuss him a little bit tonight, but we'll start off with Jackson Holliday, who, entering Monday's action, had 32 plate appearances in the major leagues, 1 hit, has struck out 50% of the time. This comes after Holliday was somewhat surprisingly sent down to AAA out of spring training, got off to a strong start there, and then was promoted after about 2 weeks or so to join the major league team. I know we talked about this last week, but it's worth rehashing it while we're on the subject. And Nick, I'll start with you. Should we be worried about Holliday right now?
Do we have to have this conversation right now? The Holliday discourse makes me want to delete Twitter finally. I don't know, be happy again. In the long run, no. I mean, right now it's not ideal, obviously. I think you can, there's a smart take. There's a logical conversation to be had about saying he should go back to AAA, maybe for a reset. And I think that's fine. If you have that take or have that opinion, I don't necessarily agree right now. I'm just not yet at that point of thinking that he should go back down yet. Because the team is winning. So which I feel like there are a number of people online who think we're in last place. It's this whole same conversation as last year. We're one of the better teams in all of baseball right now. This team is winning. The lineup is producing. So they are 5th in runs scored, tops in home runs, 4th in batting average, tied with Atlanta in for a WRC plus lead, 3rd in weighted on base average. That's a pretty good lineup. The lineup's not suffering. He's also playing very good defense, 96th percentile in outs above average. Only 1 second baseman in all of baseball, Marcus Semien, has more outs above average than Jackson Holliday at second base right now. So for those reasons, I'm going to give him another 2-3 weeks in the big leagues. And like, we don't know his mental state. No one does. This organization knows where he's at mentally better than anyone else. If they think a reset in Norfolk will do the trick, then so be it, and they'll make that move. But like, there's definitely no sugarcoating that it's been a terrible offensive start. But I think it was that at bat on Sunday against Kansas City, the staring at strike three right down the pipe with bases loaded, like that one was rough. That was the first time I was like, oof, like swing and miss and be late on the pitch, attack it, and that's fine. Guess wrong, that's one thing, but to just sit and stare middle was kind of rough. But the defense has been solid. The team is winning. He's a top prospect in the game for like a laundry list of reasons. I think he gets a few more weeks to figure it out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, not only does he have 96th percentile in OAA, outs above average, he's got a 2.5 positive defensive WAR according to Fangraphs. So clearly he's playing a good second base. The team is winning. He's batting ninth. Like, he's not really hurting the team necessarily. And especially since he got his first hit, I do think his at-bats have been better. Obviously, still hasn't had another hit since his first one, but he's making more contact, seems to be getting into better counts. He did hit into a little bit of bad luck over the weekend, but kind of like, I don't know. It does seem like he's pressing. It does seem like he is the timing just seems a little bit off. And I think once he gets the timing, things will get better. But if it's still happening in 2-3 weeks, like it's still as dreadful as it has been, then maybe, yeah, like Colton Cowser, you send him down and you just let him get comfortable again, and then you try again at a certain point. But who's really going to be there to play second base if he's not? Is Ramon Urias really the answer? Maybe if Kobe Mayo keeps crushing AAA and Jackson keeps struggling, you make the switch where you're like, all right, let's put Kobe at third, move Westberg over to second base, and then you kind of still have a rookie prospect trying to get a feel for the majors while you are hopefully still being productive and winning games. I don't know, but I would give him more time. I think I saw today that Aaron Judge is 1 for his last 23 with 13 strikeouts, and Jackson Holliday's 1 for his last 23 with 12 strikeouts. So he's doing even better than Aaron Judge. You can't argue with that. Not worried at all in the long run. In the short term, I'd love to just see him get like a swinging bunt single and then a little pop-up that finds its way into the outfield where he gets credited for a hit, and then it's like, just get some positive momentum going for him and then take a little bit of that pressure off.
Yeah, he needs some positive momentum right now. I think one of the challenges has been that above the strikeouts, which have been an issue, when he's making contact, he's really not hitting the ball hard. Ground ball rate going into Monday's game is at 57.1%. You look at his Baseball Savant page and you look at pretty much any metric there is for batted ball data, and it's all in the blue. It's all in a low percentile. So he's struggling right now, but I agree with you guys that you give him at least another 2 to 3 weeks. Plus, there really is not an easy answer in my mind, and we can get into this a little bit more as we talk about some of the other players, to how you would replace Holiday, because the logical move in my mind, if you picture it being a short-term thing, would be to bring Nick Maton up to be the left-handed hitting second baseman, but he is on the IL right now. So that's not an option. So there's a lot of complications that you have to sort through there.
What's Tony Kemp up to? How about Colton Wong? Yeah, exactly. Unless you get creative, like I'm saying, like swing Westberg over and then start Urias at third, or bring up Mayo, or if you want to give Connor Norby a shot, but he hasn't even been playing much second base in the minors. So yeah, it's interesting. It's tough. I think they're going to stick with it for now. Just like you didn't see them hurry up and change their mind super quickly when they didn't start him on the majors. I don't think they decided to bring him up and let him get his feet wet. They're going to see it play out to its fullest.
Yeah, well, and speaking of, go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to reiterate the fact that like he just turned 20 back in December, like, and for that reason that's a big reason why I just feel like this organization would not have called him up if they didn't feel like he was ready. And Major League Baseball, as we're finding out, is extremely difficult for these young kids. Like, we've seen this plenty of times. And I think he's the type of prospect that I think you give him a few more weeks. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If this team was losing, they need a jolt of offense. Sure, I'd say make the switch, but they're not. They're cruising right now, and things are fairly good. So, yeah, if we'll come back together in a week or two, and if he's 1 for 50, like that's a whole different conversation. But let's see what he does here this week out in California. Maybe the little California air, sunshine, good weather. Maybe that will help boost the morale a little bit. But I don't know. We'll see. Not worried yet, though.
Yeah, certainly hope so. And since we were just touching on him as possibly a guy you could bring up, we'll turn our attention now to Kobe Mayo, who ranked second on our preseason list. And as Kobe Mayo does, Kobe Mayo is crushing the baseball. He had 3 hits on Sunday. All of them were over 100 miles per hour off the bat. The power is showing up in a big way for him right now. You look at the batted ball data, it has been very good to this point. He's already hit 7 home runs in 21 games, a 160 WRC plus. He's not walking much at all. But other than that, you really can't find a blemish in his stat line. So, Bob, I'll start with you here. What do you think he has left to do to get to the major leagues?
He needs an injury by a guy that's ahead of him on the major league team. I mean, he's there. He's ready. Here, I'm going to pull this from Baseball America. J.J. Cooper wrote this morning, writing about Kobe Mayo. I resisted writing about Mayo last week as he just continues to impress week after week. And how many times can I write that he hits the ball really hard, hits it in the air, doesn't swing and miss very much, and is very young? So instead, I'll just hope that he'll be up in the majors soon so I don't have to find new ways to express just how elite of a prospect he is. Jordan Westburg's emergence has perhaps clouded the immediate future for Mayo, but there's no question he's shown everything he needs to. Checks every analytical box, and hopefully the Orioles find a way to squeeze him onto the major league roster soon. Yeah, I mean, he's striking out a little bit more, walking a little bit less, but I think that's just because he's crushing the ball. And when you're feeling yourself and you're crushing the ball like that, you're going to be swinging more often because you're doing damage. So no problem at all with that. And again, it's only been less than 100 plate appearances as well. 160 WRC plus in AAA at 21 years old. Or 22 years old, excuse me. He's old man now. I think they're going to have to make room for him sometime soon, whether it's start getting him some time in the outfield, a little more time at first base just to get him more comfortable. A right-handed bat, the lineup actually could use a thumper from the right-hand side. I think he's not too far away, and he's doing everything that he should be. He's made some impressive plays defensively at third base too. Made some errors as well, but I think he can be league average third baseman and not hurt you at all. Easily make up for it with the bat.
The numbers you guys rattled off, he's doing this, putting up that kind of production, and he's like, what, 4 years younger than his peers at AAA? Like, he's extremely young for the level, and that's the key thing here with Mayo, and why I think that bat, I don't care about the defense right now. I don't want to have the conversation about the defense. I don't want to have the conversation about where he fits defensively right now. That's not for us to decide. That's an issue for this front office, the job that I don't envy, putting all these pieces together, which, by the way, it's a lot more fun. It is frustrating, but also a lot more fun to be talking about Kobe Mayo, who in how many other organizations would Kobe Mayo be like, this is the guy we're waiting for to build our major league roster around? Or like, we've got one good piece in the major leagues. We've got the pitching. Kobe Mayo is going to kickstart our hitting like in this organization. And with Kobe Mayo, it's just like, if he doesn't come up till the end of the year, like, we might be all right. I think we'll be good. He's just a guy.
He's just going to join Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Colton Cowser, Jordan Westburg, Jackson Holliday.
Exactly. And it's like, it's mind-blowing. But the fact that he's putting up those numbers you guys ran off, the 160 WRC plus, so he's 60% above league average in a league where he is 3-4 years younger than his peers. The 7 home runs, he's going to smash he hit 12 last year in 270 at-bats in AAA. He's going to smash that. The strikeout rate is high, but it's coming back down. I don't know what it was a week ago when I was looking at this, but it's coming down. You guys mentioned the walks. That's the one blemish on his stat line is the walks. He was like 15, 16% last year between AA and AAA. you don't love to see him at 5% right now, but he's doing everything else right and better. He's even hitting the ball harder. I didn't know if that was possible, but he is. If I search the Savant minor league leaderboards, I haven't played around with these too much.
Whether you're a diehard sports fan, a hopeless romantic, or a comedy aficionado, the Xfinity 10G network was made for streaming it all. Worry less about buffering when streaming your favorite shows, movies, or live sports, and enjoy a better way to watch. Xfinity gives you a reliable connection for streaming, plus all the entertainment you love all in one place. Fear not, because now you can finally sit back, relax, and stream your favorite entertainment and sports like never before with the Xfinity 10G network.
The living room is where you make life's most beautiful memories. But your sofa shouldn't be the one remembering them. The new life-resistant, high-performance furniture collection from Ashley is designed to withstand all the spills, slip-ups, and muddy paws that come with the best parts of life. Ashley high-performance sofas and recliners are soft, on-trend, and easy to clean. Shop the high-performance furniture in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.
But if I did this right, then right now at AAA, only James Wood and Adrian Del Castillo, catching prospect for the Diamondbacks, who's actually having a phenomenal year. Those are the only two guys in AAA hitting the ball harder than Kobe Mayo on average. Mayo's averaging 92.7 miles per hour exit velocity. That's up a whole mile per hour from last year in AAA. The hard hit percentage is basically on par from last year. It's above 50%. His barrel rate is among the best in AAA. His defense aside, like that bat is forcing the issue fairly soon, I think.
Yeah, I have a theory I'd love to run by you guys. And really, Jordan Westberg's the one that kind of made me have this theory. It's that players walk less when they're hitting the ball better. And when they're struggling a little bit to see the ball, the walk rate goes up. You saw it with Gunnar at the beginning of last year. He starts hitting the ball with authority, the walks go back down. I don't know. So I feel like it just means, if my theory is correct, that Mayo's seeing the ball really well and he doesn't want to walk. He wants to do damage. But
yeah, I think that seems fair. He definitely is seeing the ball right now, and when he squares up on it, he's hitting it a long way. The defensive question, I agree with Nick. I think it's kind of gotten overblown to this point, but I do wonder if he gets some reps in the outfield, possibly here in the next few weeks, just because you're going to want as many options to get his bat in the lineup as you can when he gets to the major leagues. And in a scenario where you have Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle, Kobe Mayo, Jordan Westberg, and Jackson Holiday all on the roster at the same time, you're going to have to figure out where Mayo fits in. And in some nights, that might be in right field. We'll see, though. But I'll move on down to Samuel Basallo, who had a decent week last week when the Bay Sox faced Altoona. Now, mind you, the Bay Sox were only 14 games into their season. So we're still looking at a small sample size. But when I look at Basallo's numbers, so far, 237 average, 555 OPS, a home run. I don't really care about that a whole lot. That's just a kind of slow 2 weeks. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. Last year, his walk to strikeout numbers were pretty good all season across 3 levels in the minors. So far, he has struck out 16 times and has yet to draw a walk. So, Nick, with that in mind, what have your thoughts been on Basallo to this point?
Put him in the Jackson Holiday bus category. What a waste that the Yankees should have left him to the Yankees to worry about. I'm not worried at all. I don't care either. I don't think we're going to see him take the title as top prospect. I think that was a long shot anyway, and I think he probably needed a hot start in Double-A this year, and which has not been there. But I don't care about the top 100 prospect rankings or who the top prospect is. It was fun to get the 3. It'd be amazing to have the 4, but I really don't care. I'm just more concerned about Basallo's development. And right now, he's 19 years old. That's what's most important. He's a 19-year-old kid, 5 years younger than the average Double-A player. He also had that stress fracture, right? I think in arm, shoulder, I don't remember exactly where, but the stress fracture, elbow. Thank you, elbow. Too many body parts. So that happened in spring or before spring. Either way, it disrupted his routine coming into spring training. yes, he was hitting and DHing, but I do wonder like how much of his spring was impacted and his ramp up to spring was impacted by that injury. And right now we're just watching extended spring training for Samuel Basallo. I still think he's put together some good at bats. That opposite field power, he's showing that. The strikeout rate and walk rate numbers, I think it's whatever. It's 14 games. I think those are going to stabilize as he starts to settle in. He's incredibly young. He's coming off an injury, probably the first big injury of his career up to this point, that I know of at least. So not major in like the grand scheme of things as far as the injury is concerned, but one that definitely had caused a hiccup, I think, this year, coming into this year. So teenager, he's got all the hype coming into the season. He had the massive year last year in high A, finished it in double A. So I imagine the injury is probably mentally frustrating. And now he's playing catch up. The thread of photos that I'm collecting of Basallo's facial expressions after at bats and mannerisms, I love this kid even more. That he is not only at double A at 19 years old as a catching prospect, but he is showing off the personality as well. And, maybe it's not so fun for the umpires who he's showing up a little bit, but it's fun as a fan to watch this guy at bat. Even when he strikes out, it's fun to watch Samuel Basallo.
Yeah, that's funny. Thanks, Zach, for ruining my theory immediately, because Basallo has yet to walk, clearly not seeing the ball all that well, but it's all right. If you take away those 2 strikeouts where he flipped out or, had those gifable moments, strikeout rate is only like 23%. So he'll walk a little more. Like you said, this is kind of like his ramp up to spring training. He's still not catching yet, right? He just started playing first base, so he's got to get comfortable. Yeah, I mean, he got 16 plate appearances in double A last year, but at the end of a season where he's just lighting the world on fire, it doesn't mean that much. He's still a 19-year-old in double A, and he'll be fine. It's not like the Jackson Holiday situation where he's striking out 50% of the time, batting under 100. So, yeah, no worries. I think it's just, some people slump in the beginning of the season. Some people have slumps in the middle of the season. This is a slump, and he'll be fine.
Colton Cowser was 4th on our list coming into this year. And so far, he looks like one of the top, if not the top candidate for Rookie of the Year in the American League. Still an early season, but right now, he's second on the team in F4. He's got a WRC plus of 240. He hit his 5th home run of the season on Sunday. And strikeout rate is a little high at 30%, but walking 7% of the time, which for a guy in his rookie season, I will take that gladly. The defense has looked good. Bob, what else is there left to say about Colton Cowser? I know it's a small sample size, and his week this past week was colder than when he won Player of the Week, but it still ended pretty well for him.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say? He throws the ball into the fountain in Kansas City, Craig Kimbrell's save ball, and then just hits one into the fountain the next day. He's just having like a storybook season so far. And Bobby Jones, a patron in our Discord, made a great point that I was thinking about as well. We even saw it in spring training. We thought we'd see a little more walking, a little more plate discipline from Cowser. He's only got a 7% walk rate when he's typically around 16%. I think that's just because we talked about during spring training how it looked like he's more aggressive when balls are in the strike zone, which is a good thing. That's why he's probably making more impact contact. And I was saying maybe he's just got to, he's feeling that. He's getting used to that. So once he settles in and can combine that with his elite plate discipline, then we'll see the walk rate come up. And hopefully the strikeout rate come down a little bit. But he's probably going to be a guy that strikes out close to 30% of the time. And it's fine. Clearly, look, he's putting up great numbers despite that. So very happy with what he's done. He just looks more and more comfortable defensively as well in the outfield. So, yeah, I think he's probably maybe the favorite for Rookie of the Year at this point. And glad I got a bet on him at plus 5,000 in November. So,
yeah, I would love if Cowser. We talked last week about Cowser, and I think just specifically Cowser, but we were talking about like what in his profile, what that he's shown us those first couple weeks of the year was sustainable or not. it's been a whole nother week, and like the baseball savant page is still bright red. And I would love it if this guy could continue to mash and play the way he has. He's going to come down to earth a little bit, obviously, but if he could stay like rookie of the year caliber play and still be holding that strikeout rate of like 28 to 30%, that I think that would be huge and put it into perspective a lot better for some people, like when you're looking at some of these other guys coming up through the system. But the two things that stand out to me the most with Cowser are the power in the defense. He's got a hard hit rate over 51%. His max EV is top 5% in the league. His average EV is up 4 miles per hour from his stint in the majors last year, which is now 3 miles per hour above league average. We heard multiple times that the Orioles thought that power was in that bat, and he's showing it now in the majors, which is awesome. And I know this just like rips the hearts out of most of the beat staff, but the torch has been passed from Austin Hayes to Colton Cowser. Like, left field is Cowser's job. Hayes can have some starts against lefties when he's back. He's on the IL earlier, like an hour or two before
he hurt his calf trying to catch up with Colton Cowser, keep pace with him.
Exactly. Here we go again. Hayes can have some starts against lefties. That's fine. But an opposing lefty should not mean an automatic sit for Cowser at this point. I spent last year ready to go to war for Cowser. I've got the screenshots. I've got the receipts. I've got them all. I was ready to unleash them. But he's exceeding even what I thought we would see out of him this year, and which I was fairly high on the guy. And so, yeah, I love seeing it. And best of all, same thing as Basayo. Like, find me a player in the majors who's more fun than Colton Cowser right now. Like, this team has future MVPs, maybe hopefully a future Cy Young winner on it or two right now. But Cowser, I think, is quickly becoming a fan favorite, and I love this for him because he has earned every bit of this, and I hope this torrid stretch that he's on continues.
Moo indeed.
We're recording this on Monday night, and we did get a little bit of breaking news about the next player we're going to talk about, Heston Kjerstad. Jacob Calvin Meyer at the Baltimore Sun reported that a source with direct knowledge had told the Sun that the Orioles will recall Kjerstad from Norfolk on Tuesday. Kjerstad has been off to a torrid start with the Tides this season. Through 102 plate appearances, he's hitting .349 with a 189 WRC plus, 10 home runs. And we've been talking a lot tonight about hitters not walking. Kjerstad's the outlier in that conversation. He's walked 11.8% of the time while striking out 21.6% of the time. Now, to put that in perspective, his strikeout rate is only a percentage higher than it was at AAA last year in 76 games, but his walk rate has climbed by almost a full 4%. He clearly deserves a shot at the major leagues. I think had it not been for Cowser's strong spring training, he may have made the opening day roster. But Kjerstad was a little bit slower to get going. Cowser has a big spring. He ends up making the roster ahead of him. And Nick, just with this thought in mind, is this Kjerstad's chance to stick for good, you think?
I hope so. I was thinking about it earlier. I had a point I was going to make about Kjerstad, but that point, there's no point in making that point now that he's on the major league roster. But I'm not even going to go there. I say yes. Like, this is your opportunity. He was up last year. He's on the playoff roster. Clearly, this organization believes in him. I'm going to say it again. I think the idea that he is a defensive liability in the outfield is overblown. It's the same conversation, the same thought process as like Santander out there in right field. He's not going to play center field. Maybe the Orioles don't love him in left field at home, but I think he's better defensively than a lot of people give him credit for. I don't ever see him winning a Gold Glove, but still better. I think this is the point where it's only 10 games, and I know the organization loves Austin Hayes, and I know everyone is saying he's going to turn it around. And I was going to make another point about Hayes, in that if you really do think he can turn it around, if you are that high on him, if you do think that illness and losing 10 pounds, it's like, what kind of illness did you have, man? Lose 10 pounds, and you weren't sick for like weeks at a time there. But if all that is true, then I'm fine with it. But like I said, Cowser is the everyday left fielder. Hayes is a small side platoon here. At this point, though, like Kerstad, this is your chance to have that Colton Cowser type run and take the job. Cowser got that opportunity in spring training. They both did in spring training. Unfortunately, Cowser was the one that took advantage of it instead of Kerstad. Well, unfortunately for Kerstad, not the organization, obviously. But Cowser took advantage of it. Now Kerstad, he didn't have the greatest spring training. He goes back to the AAA. He's raking. You ran off the numbers there. This is your chance. And when Austin Hayes comes back healthy in a week or whatever, however long he's on the IL, like he's got to fight. He's going to have to fight for that playing time because now Kerstad's here. And if he's hot this week out in California against the Angels, you can't send this guy back down, I think, at this point. I don't think you can, at least.
And if he's going to be as comfortable at the plate in the majors, once he comes up, as he has been all year in AAA with Norfolk, I think we're going to see in about 2 weeks our notification. Austin Hayes has been activated from the injured list and optioned to AAA Norfolk to try and get healthy and get right. Yeah, I think he's been phenomenal. The Barrel King is right back at it, just hitting them, spraying the ball all over the field with power, gets the perfect launch angle. He doesn't hit the ball as hard as Kobe Mayo and Colton Cowser. Surprisingly, Cowser hits the ball harder, I think, than Kerstad with regularity, but Kerstad just knows how to hit the sweet spot of the bat, get the right launch angles. Still hits it hard, but and he just looks so comfortable up there. That's why I'm not surprised that his walk rate is almost 12%. It just seems like the ball looks like a volleyball to him as it's coming in right now, and he deserves it. He got a taste in the majors last year and performed pretty admirably. Had a 104 WRC plus in his 33 plate appearances with the Orioles last year, and hopefully he can build off that. And yeah, just add another stud young player to this lineup. Colton Cowser was AL Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. Jordan Westberg was the Player of the Week this past week. Maybe Heston Kerstad can throw his name into the ring.
Are you guys, though, what if Kerstad does come up and play well and says, you're not sending me back down to AAA? I'm not going back to Norfolk. Like, I grew up right outside of Norfolk. I understand why you wouldn't want to go back to Norfolk. But like, would it be too many left? Are we talking about too many lefties on this roster? Like, let's say that case, like Bob laid out, is true. And what if Kerstad does play so well and Hayes, he has the option, he goes back down to AAA or a move is made or something? Like, are there too many lefties on this major league roster?
Whether you're a morning person or a bedtime procrastinator, everyone deserves a mattress that works for their style. And you'll find the best mattress for you at Ashley. The new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley brings you one-of-a-kind body-conforming technology, making every sleep tailored to be your best. The collection also features cool-to-the-touch covers and motion absorption to help minimize sleep disruptions from partners, pets, or kids. Shop the all-new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley, in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.
I would be a little concerned about it. Yeah, it just feels like, I'll look at it from this perspective. If Kerstad performs really well in the next week and deserves a roster spot over Austin Hayes, that's fine by me and good for him. But I just wonder where are you going to have that right-handed bat? Are you going to hope that when they're turned to the right side, Rutzman and Santander give you some power? Do you hope that Mountcastle can have a good season? Does Urias pick up the pace at some point? I don't see it happening, but you never know. So I don't know. It is a good question. I don't think that it would hurt this team, but I also think that it would be something you would want to address somehow, whether that's eventually bringing Kobe Mayo into the fold and giving him regular playing time, or it's going out and trying to find a veteran who could supplement or complement one of your lefties in a platoon situation.
I also think it's just a little bit overblown as far as the splits go. The Orioles go to such an extreme with it. And Kerstad, he throughout his career, at least, he's handled lefties just as well as he's handled righties. I don't know if he's a guy that's really going to be hurt by a left-handed pitcher. And Austin Hayes, it's not like he hits lefties that much better than righties either. So
that's true. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit overblown, but I get it to an extent. You don't want that. And eventually, if and when Mayo and maybe Norby come up at some point, I don't know where you have room for all these guys, but those are some righties, and there's some more righties on the way. But like Basayo. He's lefty. Maybe it becomes an issue at some point. I don't think it's that big of a deal right now.
Speaking of Connor Norby, let's wrap up there. He did finish outside of our top 5 on our list. He came in 6, but this is where we should plug Patreon, because if you're a member of our Patreon community, you're going to get an updated top 50 sometime in the beginning of May. We update our list monthly on Patreon. On the main feed, we do it twice a year. Once preseason, usually around the time pitchers and catchers report, and then again in late July, early August to add players who were included in the draft and make any other changes. But if you're a Patreon member, you get an update every month. And our May update is coming soon. I have a feeling Connor Norby's probably going to be in the top 5. We haven't finished our list yet, but I have a pretty good feeling he's going to be there because he's hitting the ball really well at Norfolk right now. 132 WRC plus with 5 homers through his first 101 plate appearances. Walked just under 10% of the time while striking out a 23.8% clip. He is hitting 303 to go with that. We've talked about Norby a lot, and the angle always is that there is nothing left for him to prove at AAA. He's blocked. Is he going to get traded? On and on. Let's toss out the trade part of the discussion for tonight, and just as we quickly wrap up here with him. I'll just throw this out there. What scenario do you think it would take for Norby to get to Baltimore this year and have at least partial playing time? And I'll start with Bob on that one.
I don't know. I was kind of, before I heard about the Kjerstad news, I was kind of wondering if Norby could be the Hayes replacement, because he's been playing a lot of corner outfield. He's a right-handed hitter that can play left and right field for you. And I don't think he would require everyday at-bats the way a stud, not that he's not a stud prospect, but like one of these top elite prospects would. So I think... I actually think he's gonna find a way to make his major league debut with the Orioles, and then eventually be traded as part of a big deal, whether it's this trade deadline or in the offseason. But I think maybe Arias gets hurt, and again, they don't want to bring Mayo up to replace Arias because you don't want Mayo to sit on the bench. Maybe Norby could be that guy to be more of a role player his first time up. But he's just such a, as Ben Badler says on the Baseball America, I forget their podcast.
Future projection?
Future projection.
That one?
Carlos Collazo and Ben Badler. Yeah. He's hitterish, super hitterish. And he knows how to find the bat, put it on the ball, get the base hits. And I feel like he's hitting the ball harder this year than he did last year. I know there was talk of a more vertical bat path with his swing. I don't know. I don't get into the technical stuff like that so much, but it does seem like the exit velocities are increased so far this year. So he's continuing to get better. He's playing with the chip on his shoulder, and I hope that it happens for him.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what has to happen for him to crack the majors either, but I did look the other week where he is hitting the ball a lot harder, and I don't know if that's sustained or not. It's been like the 2 weeks since we talked about that, but I mean, right now he's on pace he had 21 home runs last year in AAA. He had 17 the year before that in AA. He's on pace right now to blow past 21 home runs on the year this year in AAA if he were to stay down there for the full season. Everything else is remaining consistent as far as his numbers go, like ground ball, fly ball, all of it's pretty much in line from his last year. His last year's numbers in AAA, except he's hitting for even more power so far in this young season. So I don't know. I think he's out to prove a point. I don't know anyone in baseball who has a bigger chip on their shoulder, at least in this organization. So if he does eventually get the call up to the big leagues, I'd be scared for the opposing pitcher because that man is going to be out to prove a point to everyone that he deserved to be up sooner. But like we mentioned, we talked about with Kobe and Mayo, it's from a fan perspective, it's kind of fun to sit here and be like, where the hell do we fit Connor Norby in? And he's a top 100 caliber prospect, and we're having trouble figuring out where he fits in. But he's clearly not phased because, like I said, the numbers, they all line up to last year, and he's a well above average statistical baseball player. So shout out to Connor Norby. Hopefully we do see in an Orioles uniform at some point, but yeah, I could not tell you when or how at this point.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I thought about this as we were, talking through this segment, and it dawned on me that Norby might be in the major leagues, coming to the major leagues tomorrow, rather than Kjerstad if Norby already had the 40-man roster spot. But he's not Rule 5 eligible until after this season. So my scenario that I was going to bring up, which is maybe a Joey Ortiz type of situation, where Ortiz got a couple of short stints in the majors last year because of injuries, doesn't apply because Ortiz was on the 40-man last year. Norby's not on the 40-man now and won't be until he's either called up or he's added this offseason to be protected from the Rule 5 draft. He's clearly earned it. I get the feeling that somehow it's going to work out for him. Whether that's in Baltimore or somewhere else, I don't know. But I think for this season, it's going to take the Orioles realizing and deciding, okay, yeah, Ramon Urias has been great for a few years. It's just not going to work this year. Let's try to bring in Norby, or you have a long-term injury and you figure you add Norby to the 40-man roster, then give him a shot to see what he can do. Well, that does it for this episode. In our next episode, we're going to talk about some stat lines in the minor leagues, specifically players off to good and bad starts, and whether or not we think that the players with hot starts are going to have sustained success, and whether the players who are off to bad starts are going to continue to slump, or if they're going to turn around soon. That's our next episode. In the meantime, you can check us out on our many social media platforms, including Facebook, Threads, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube. We're also over at OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. If you subscribe today, you will have access to an article that Nick just wrote detailing some of the interesting pitching trends unfolding in the Orioles minor leagues over the first couple of weeks. You don't want to miss that, and we'll have analysis on there throughout the year. For Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens, this is Zach Spedden. You've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, part of the Believe Podcast Network.
Whether you're a morning person or a bedtime procrastinator, everyone deserves a mattress that works for their style. And you'll find the best mattress for you at Ashley. The new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley brings you one-of-a-kind body-conforming technology, making every sleep tailored to be your best. The collection also features cool-to-the-touch covers and motion absorption to help minimize sleep disruptions from partners, pets, or kids. Shop the all-new Temper-Adapt collection at Ashley, in-store or online at ashley.com. Ashley, for the love of home.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.